Hello, and welcome to Psychology Live. I'm Dr. Gail Majcher, and with me is Mary DiPaolo, limited licensed psychologist. We have started a series on what the coronavirus has done to all of us. It's just an international impact, and we want to talk about it from a mental health standpoint. Our last show, we kind of gave an overview of the coronavirus. This time we want to talk a little more about the impact it's had on individual people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing that I mentioned in our last video, that one thing that COVID taught us was how to slow down. Because so many of us, let's face it, we live in an instant gratification culture. Mm-hmm. We want everything now. And I have to tell you, when COVID first hit, one of the first things I did was buy a crap ton of coffee that I wanted, of my kind of coffee, and all the sugar-free syrups I think that there were to buy and scour from the market. Because I figured if I'm on lockdown for a long time, I gotta have my coffee, gotta have my syrup. And I know that seems a bit frivolous, but I gotta tell you, the thinking is immediately reframed when you're told basically you can't go anywhere.
We happened to be out of town when it first hit. We were on Hilton Head, so we just stayed there for a while because the numbers weren't that high. And we were hearing about how you could not get toilet paper. So at every hotel we stayed at, every condo, we were like stocking up. We still have enough.
And isn't it crazy how that toilet paper thing and the disinfectant spray and the wipes and all that, I mean, people were out of their damn minds. I'm not kidding. You'd go in Majcher or Walmart, always shelves empty, and it's like, really?
It was kind of anxiety provoking when we came back and we saw that in the grocery stores. And that's one topic I want to get to, because so many of my clients are dealing with anxiety because of the pandemic, and rightfully so. Anxiety is the fear of the unknown, and we certainly have had the unknown for the last year. We still don't know, so things are becoming better, but we don't know a lot of things. We don't know how long the vaccination is going to last. There's a lot of things that we don't know. So people who have a tendency towards anxiety anyway, it has been amped up. And then for just the average person, most people have dealt with anxiety at some level. And many times it comes out in ways that don't exhibit as anxiety. Maybe in a marriage, there's a little conflict going on. Maybe they're bugging each other. And it's not really about that. It's more because the pandemic's going on and they're feeling anxious about what's going on. So when it comes to anxiety, I think it's important that everyone understands that is the fear of the unknown, unless you have a chemical imbalance, and we've all been in the unknown. So if you've been experiencing anxiety, know that it's perfectly normal given this set of circumstances.
Right. And when I mentioned the coffee and syrup example, my instant reaction to the news of COVID causing us all to lock down was to hoard. I wanted to hoard items that I felt were very important. I didn't care about no toilet paper.
I did.
I cared about coffee and syrup. Now, here's the thing though. Anxiety, when you think about it, now, this is something new, a new concept for people to try to grasp, but it is so true. Your mind either drifts to the future or to the past. That's what the bulk of anxiety is. It's thinking about and overthinking about something that hasn't happened yet in the future or something that already happened in the past. And typically, because of COVID, those past thoughts would be focused more on the dramatic, negative, traumatic, et cetera, et cetera. Now,
well, one of the hard parts about that, well, first of all, I thought about while you were talking how the Bible says, don't be anxious for anything. Right. Don't be anxious for tomorrow. So what Mary said is absolutely true. Anxiety is typically about the past or the future.
Right. So when you practice living in the now, one of the great books by Eckhart Tolle is The Eternal Now. You have to live in the now so that you can remind yourself and ground yourself to the reality of what's going on right now today. Her and I are sitting here, Dr. Gail and I. Okay, my butt isn't on fire. I may be thinking my butt's on fire or could be on fire, but guess what? It's not, because I'm sitting here and it's not on fire.
In your bikini.
In my bikini bottoms. But do you see how when you keep your mind focused on the now, that will help you to reduce and eliminate the anxiety associated with the thoughts that are out there in the future or behind you. And one of the great things, and I think we've mentioned about this in past videos from last year, before this year, past year, okay, you can put something hot and spicy in your mouth. You could bite into a flaming hot Dorito chip and bring yourself immediately back to the here and now, given what you were thinking, because your mouth's on fire. And so that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing to bring you back to the reality of now.
Well, it is true. Being in the present makes a huge difference. The tricky part with COVID is that in the present, there's an unknown because we're not living life the way that we normally do. So, to Mary's point, when you come to the present now, you want to do very basic things like, oh, wait a minute, I can breathe. Oh, wait a minute, I can be talking to my friend. Oh, wait, I can do this. So you're thinking about the positive things you can do, because in the present right now, you could be worried about COVID, but you don't have to be right now. If you have it, a family member has it, then you're going to be focused on it. And in the here and now, you probably will have anxiety. Normal response to something like that.
Right, because that's your present day reality, but you can also practice taking the best care of yourself and or your loved one while you are struggling through actually being sick.
Yeah. So the whole anxiety issue has been really big with COVID. So we wanted to touch on that. And then, of course, what goes hand in hand with anxiety is depression. And if we have too much time on our hands, it is too easy to spiral down. So before you know it, you're depressed and you are thinking about past or future things, usually past things that have really hurt you. And before you know it, your mind's in that mix and it's very hard to stop it. That's been very common with COVID. You know, many times when we have to get up, we have to go to work and be around people. Even if we're down, we can't focus on it because we're around other people and we have to be doing our work. Well, you have all this spare time at home, you're not around people, it's easy then to start sinking. Once again, you have to pull your mind back to the present, because what happened in the past, you cannot change. If someone has hurt you, there isn't much you can do about that. What you can do is come back to the present and try to pull out of the depression. However, for a lot of people right now, they have not been able to pull out of the depression. So if you have gotten kicked off chemically because of COVID or the reaction to COVID, antidepressants are a godsend for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So if you need to go on one for, say, 6 months to get your brain out of that kind of imbalance, and so you don't have to be depressed. I'm thinking about a client I have who has a tendency towards depression anyway, but she can cope with it normally. But with COVID, it has just sent her too far down. So for the first time in her life, actually, she has gone on an antidepressant maybe a month ago or whatever. She can't believe the difference. She said, I feel like myself, like I got myself back. I don't have that dark cloud hanging over me. So no, if that's something you need to do for, it could be for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever you and your doctor decide. Through this period, consider it. Okay, so that flips us over to why? Because the rate of suicide has gone way up. Right. I'll let you pick up from there.
Well, it's true, although we only have a minute. So quickly, I would say this. Suicide ideation, which is thinking about suicide, goes up. So you have to call to talk to someone. You can't just let your thoughts keep going and going and going, thinking they're going to go away or that you're going to make them go away. Because once you have thoughts of suicide, it is critically important that you talk to somebody to get a different perspective from what you're allowing yourself to think over and over and over again. Unfortunately, I know of people who decided to commit suicide since COVID began. That is never an answer. That is a permanent solution to what was a resolvable problem.
Please, if you're having those thoughts, talk to someone. If not a family member, if not your doctor, call a therapist or just go on over to the ER. Mm-hmm. Please, if you're having those thoughts where you're planning it out, get help immediately. Oh, my camera, like my computer likes to go a little dark at 10 minutes.
So, in keeping in line with that, you are worth it. There is no problem, no situation, no difficult issue that is not resolvable when you get the right kind of help and do your work.
That's
so
right.
please do
Yes.
your work.
Okay, we're going to end for now, but we will be doing another show on this. So thank you for watching. We
Thanks.
appreciate it.